It's as if the mind is fully awake and fully beyond the hindrances. Then it's completely bright and radiant. There's no more darkness of ignorance or lack of mindfulness. The mindfulness and samadhi is established. The mind is radiant, so it can see and know everything. So then, if it's really at that level, then there's nothing that is unseen, unknown. So there's no sort of subtle hindrance lurking there, because the mind is seeing everything. The brightness, the radiance of the knowing of the mind is so strong.
If mind at that time is so bright, so strong, what would be the difference after enlightenment, after breakthrough the enlightenment state? What would be the difference? What would be the state of mind after that? Once got through that stage of enlightenment.
If one reaches enlightenment.
The Maria, or would the state be different to that? Is it very different to the bright state he got before?
The hindrances don't return there. The mind becomes free from the hindrances. He compares it to like the hindrances are a sign of immaturity of the mind, or like a young person. It's attachments, and then the mind has matured, the mind of an adult, so it's let go of the attachment to those things. So the hindrances are no longer there.
ความรู้สึกต่างๆมันจะมีลักษณะเป็นปัจจุบันอยู่ตลอดนะไม่กังวลเรื่องอดีตอนาคตมันก็จะไม่มีอะไร
The mind is constantly with the present moment. There's no more dropping into concerns and agitated states about the past. There's no more dropping into proliferation, agitated states about the future. It's constantly in the present moment.
That carry on even in sleep.
So when the mind, that person goes to sleep, they know they're asleep. They know they're asleep. So it's the defining point. Sleep is it's a natural function of the body. It's the relaxing of the cells, all the cells that make up a human body. They need their rest, that period of relaxation, because they're constantly functioning and working. So it's just that. It's just a function of the body going to a period of rest. There's nothing more to it. According to the traditional description, the mind is no longer caught into delighting in things, averse to things. So then where does it go? What does it attach to? Where is it? Because it's not attaching to any of these normal things. In the time of the Buddha, Sariputta and Yamaka, Lord of Death, the Lord of Death asking, where does the mind of an arahant go? Because if you can't tie it down to anything, it's not attached to the past, the future, or to the khandhas in the present. You can't tie it down, you can't place it. So where is it? And the mind is continuously going to extinction, in the sense that it's still functioning. There's the functioning of the body, the mind, the mental activity. But there's no attachment to this, there's no desire or craving attached to the khandhas, to these functions. So when the eyes see a form, as the seeing arises, but it doesn't go into craving or attachment. It just passes away again. It's just seeing arise, the consciousness of seeing arise and passing away. So it's difficult to use language to describe accurately exactly the qualities we're talking about here, that the mind is free from attachment, the mind of nibbana. Words can't really describe it, but saying Khandha nibbana, there's no craving or attachment, delighting in or aversion for the khandhas. No kilesa is formed out of experience. No kilesa is formed out of experience. There's no sense of self creating a liking for or disliking for things. As you get older, eyesight starts to get blurry. Can't distinguish things too well. Because in the old days, you didn't have the technology to make glasses and check people's eyes. So old people had a lot of problems just going around and doing things difficult to function. Now we're lucky. We have these sort of conveniences to help us even in our old age. It's just saying where you live in the globe can have an effect on your mood and the way you perceive things. So he says, the extreme is living in one of those places like in the very far north, where you have 6 months of light, 6 months of dark. Maybe those people will have more extreme tendencies and even sort of unusual reactions through their sense system and the perceptions they have because of it's more extreme conditions. I just said the suicide rate always goes up in the winter because it's always dark and they can't go anywhere. Similarly with the cycle of the moon, like people tend to be in a better mood with the full moon. When the moon is bright, it tends to coincide. People's general mood is better.
It seems that Buddhism talk about building paramis and many lives and long, many lives to build to become good enough to have enough paramis to get to enlightenment. If someone, like say, for example, in past life hasn't learned about past paramis, but in one lifetime he's giving 100% totally, is it possible to attain it?
It says what people usually say about many lives not to build parami. Well, there may be some truth to that, but then maybe not as well. It's not a sure thing or a fixed thing. One important condition will be for the person whether they meet with somebody or others who support them in the practice, giving them the right teaching and the right path to follow. If somebody, you could say has a lot of good karma from the past, comes into the world, but then they don't meet anyone who teaches the path to enlightenment, and they don't discuss it, hear those teachings, well, nothing's going to happen. He's saying that what the Buddha realized, the enlightenment experience, and what it does to the mind, it's a completely revolutionary or different way of viewing the world. The mind has changed completely from a normal mind. So, for someone to come along and say, well, this body is not you, it's not yours, you're not the owner of this body. Your house, your land, your possessions are not you, they don't belong to you there. You're not the owner of them. That's very different from the normal run-of-the-mill way of describing experience. So the Buddha himself, he's special. He is a bodhisattva being. So he studied in his life, we say, the 18 sciences about how to govern, how to run the country, law, justice, education, warfare, as well as other things to do with running countries, administration, and agriculture, even all the things, sports even, that the Buddha studied. And then he also was thinking, well, there's something lacking here, so he left the palace and he trained with the two foremost meditation masters of the day, Alama Kalama Udaga Ramabuddha. They're like taught him to the level of Arupa Jhana, the 7th Rupa Jhana, 8th Rupa Jhana. But he could see on the mental level there's still not freedom, there's still not purity, there's still not the enlightenment that he was seeking. There's something missing, so he had to carry on, he had to do it himself. And that's the Buddha. You have to really learn to bring your mind in line with nature, what exists in nature, our experience in nature, what is there, and bring your mind to investigate that and learn from that. And you can't really help but see that there's a heaviness of mind, a weakness of mind, a suffering of mind that comes from attachment. And what is the basis for that attachment? It's these 5 khandhas, attaching to this body, the physical body, to feelings, to perceptions, to thought formations, and to sense consciousness, the 5 khandhas. This is a source of suffering. The attachment to these khandhas is a source of suffering. That's what you're looking at, and you're thinking, there's something here to be investigated. That's what you have to do.
Want to use a kamatana object. What should I use? What object can I use?
Practice developing the knowing, sati. Where's the place you develop or train this quality of knowing? Well, it's dukkha. Where dukkha is arising, that's where you have to know dukkha and establish mindfulness and know dukkha. And as you become fully aware of dukkha, you become aware of what it is, and it's not you, it's not self, it's not permanent. So you also notice it will fade, but it's not self, and it won't last. It's the knowing of it that helps you to see that, understand that. Take the sort of basic teachings that we've heard, that attachment is the cause of suffering. Abandoning attachment is the cause for nibbana. And just keep working with that, just keep working on that simple truth. If you're suffering, there must be some attachment, some desire, wanting, leading to attachment there in the mind for suffering to arise. So just keep looking at that suffering, and you'll also see the attachment, the desire that's feeding it. You have to look in the place where you're finding there's obstructions and problems and difficulties in your life. That's where you find the place of practice.
Sorry, pretty much. And you know that it's like suffering, and you know that it's all ego and attachment that's causing you suffering. That obviously the reasoning mind can't to it. And it's funny, like whenever it's anxiety, I find that you know the truth, but in terms of intellectually, but difficult. And that kind of makes it kind of a tension. You know, I've got quite tense muscles often when I was, and you know that makes it.
Still not using the right method to investigate it, to use sati sampajanya, knowing and all-round understanding of it, investigate it in order to let go.